We do have, I have several
That's a
people in
no,
the
I
waiting
think.
room.
Okay, the minutes were electronically distributed. Are there any changes to that? No, no response. I'll go ahead and approve the minutes then. I think I heard Ann say something. Was that?
Sir, were you talking to me? I was just saying that I do have several people in the waiting room, applicants.
I think we're doing the pool first, Sam.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Right?
Well, on the agenda, case number 5 is the.
You guys can hear me. I'll go ahead and read the first case number.
And number 6 is the pool. But I mean, it's up to you guys how you want to do it. I mean, Sam, did Craig Peavy ever come in?
I do not have Mr. Peavy. It doesn't appear in the waiting room. I have the Sussex. I have a Heidi Hefferlin, someone from Tinker Ma, and someone named Will.
I think
Okay.
Tinker Ma's Peavy.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I wasn't sure
Yeah, Tinker Ma is
who they
that
were
is-
representing.
That's his company anyway.
Oh, okay. Okay. Then that may be Mr.
Bob.
Peavy.
Yes, sir.
Bob, this is Dave. Would you,
Yes, sir.
Bob, it's Dave. Would you take over the meeting for a minute? I'm going to reset my router. You guys are all intermittent for some reason.
Sure.
You
Does
just start
somebody
the first case.
Do you want to go ahead and have one of the people come in and make his presentation?
Okay, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
But go ahead and continue the meeting there.
Did you guys approve the minutes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and I apologize. Which case did you all want to start with?
Whichever one you got right there.
I guess we'll go ahead and stay in order. I will bring the Sussex in. And we can ask them if either this Will or Heidi Hefferlin are associates of theirs.
Yes, Will is our builder and Heidi is the architect.
Okay, great. I will bring them in right now.
Hi, this is Lisa Martin Sessek, one of the homeowners.
Yes, ma'am. Can you go ahead and please state your name, your address, and make your presentation?
Right, actually Craig is going to make our presentation. My name is Lisa Martin Sessek. I'm one of the 2 homeowners at 565 North Palisades. I currently reside at 2824 Wilson Avenue in Walden. My husband should be joining.
Yep, I'm here.
There we go.
I'm here. Sorry, let me put my video on so you can see me. There it is. I'm Edward Sessek. Same addresses, and yes, one of the owners of the property.
Okay, could you go ahead and make a presentation about what you're asking for?
Yeah, we're waiting for our architect who's on standby if they can let him in, and our builder, Will.
Craig
and
is on.
Craig.
Yeah, I just got let in.
They should be in.
Yeah, it looks
Craig,
like
are you there?
connecting the audio.
Yes, I am.
There we
Okay.
go.
We're not able to get his video working. Sorry about that. Somehow there's no, when we try to turn on the camera, nothing happens. But you can hear him, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can, Heidi.
Okay.
Yes, we can, and we all have the presentation paperwork that he's given. So.
Okay.
Okay, have you familiarized yourself with the ideas contained in the presentation?
Yes.
We haven't
Okay.
had anything made yet.
So I'm just going to summarize them and not go through all the language of the town plan. The 3,000 square foot house is on Palisades Drive in Signal Mountain, just on the border with Walden. The 4.2 acre lot has a moderately descending slope to the T-deck designated Blue Stream, Shoal Creek. The property is heavily wooded with large trees. The site is zoned low-density residential conventional. In keeping with the objectives of the Signal Mountain Land Use Plan adopted in 2008, we have located the house to preserve all trees, minimize impervious surfaces, control erosion by minimal grading, and respect the TDEC no-build buffer zone. The variance request is to allow a 28-foot front yard setback in lieu of a 40-foot setback. The hardship is because there is a blue line stream that requires a 60-foot no-build zone and a 40-foot front yard setback, we are faced with a hardship to comply with both. If we violate the buffer, we must seek an ARAP from TDEC. If we comply with the zoning setback, we must remove trees. I want to note also that the setback is so extreme in the context of the other houses that the Sussex will actually end up looking at the back facade of the adjoining house. So to reiterate, if we comply with the setback requirements of the zoning code, it will result in the removal of trees. We are requesting the variance primarily to preserve the trees, and because the principles we've applied in the design comply with the principles set forth in the Signal Mountain Land Use Plan. That's my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, does anybody have a motion?
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we deny the application.
And any seconds?
Second.
And I'll turn the meeting back over to David.
Okay, we have a motion to disapprove the variance application and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I'd like to know why.
Well, if I could speak up here for a second, the 60-foot buffer that he mentioned for the on the creek is it's not negotiable, and I was going to have a Cliff Fight, which is the stormwater manager, but he's sick, so I wasn't up. He went home sick today too. So anyway, in discussions with him on that, through the TDEC and the stormwater issues, that's where the 60-foot buffer is for the creek, and that's why the house is where it's sitting.
If I could speak,
Sorry, who was that?
that was Doug.
Oh, Doug, go ahead, Doug.
I'm familiar with this property. I'm familiar with the whole area. Used to know the former owner of the property. And he owned several acres in there at one time. The house that you're referring to adjacent, you have two houses. You have one on one side that you refer to in the depiction here as 12 and a half feet from the right of way. That house was, that was the Howard's house. This is who built the property. And that was built before, that was built in the mid to late 60s. That was before we had zoning in either Walden or Signal Mountain. That was before the regulations went into effect by a number of years. And so that's about that house. There's another house, a new house on the other side of the street. I mean, on the other side of this property. And I don't see a reference to it, but it's a new house. And I don't recall them coming before the BZA wanting a setback different than what the town regulations call for. It's a pretty home. It's right there. It's on the other side. And so that's part of it. The other part of it, as far as the trees go, I don't think there's a single house that can be built anywhere without taking down some trees. And I like trees too. And I have to take out here. I hate to do it, but I'm gonna have to. And it's gotten too big, too close to the house. And But what I try to do is, if I take out a tree, is try to plant 2 more trees back. And I kind of like that. But anyway, those are my biggest concerns about it. It's a lovely piece of property. And I just believe it. You're gonna have to take out some trees. I understand that, and that's probably true. But I have never remembered a variance on count of having to have some trees removed.
May I speak to that?
Sure.
Actually, to the first point, I don't know if the Fords had the creek issue. That creek has an oxbow bend in it on our property. And that's what is forcing the 60-foot setback on the creek. I believe at the Ford's property, the creek is farther back, so they may not have needed a variance in order to avoid the creek.
I'm sorry, sir, there's a motion on the floor, so only the board can speak at this time.
I see.
David,
Does anyone have an opposing view to Doug or anyone that supports?
I'm in favor of the variance because of the land. To me, that might be a legit hardship. I'd love some feedback on that.
Well, Carrie, this is Ashley speaking. I don't have my video on, but I too am in favor of it because of the lay of the land and the buffer for the stream. I mean, to me, that's a clear hardship. It's a mandated buffer that cannot be encroached upon. So I'm in agreement with you, Carrie.
My concerns are one, the house sketch or plans look like they're 58 feet deep. So a slightly different house design would fit well in the existing setbacks. And I don't know if you guys can see this design, but it looks like with the 40-foot setback, if you move the house just slightly over, it would fit perfectly on the lot without a variance.
Huh.
Bob, do you have anything you want to say?
I agree with David 100%. If you move the house approximately 5 feet to the right, I think you'll be out of any encroachment on anything. We also have the same topography to the lots to the east of it, to the left of it. And we're going to have all those people come in there with exactly the same logical argument. So I think we have to be real careful about what we do here.
Well, I would like to hear from the homeowners once we're finished about why it's positioned on the lot and the way that it is, because I have seen lots of houses up here that are positioned on a lot to meet the setbacks, but the house looks horrible on the lot and it causes the garage to be off. And I don't think that we want that for our town either. So I'm curious as to why it was positioned where it was. I agree, if it can be moved over and the lay of the land is fine and it will still meet the requirements, I can see that, but I'd still like to hear the reasoning.
David, can I say something? I know I can't vote.
Is that Dan?
Yes, it's Dan. But based on Robert's rules,
Sure, go ahead.
the board members can ask the homeowners to participate during the discussion. Whether you've done that in the past is not the issue, but based on
You're intermittent for me, Dan.
So maybe we could hear from the architects. I don't know. What do you think, Dave?
If someone could repeat what Dan said, I couldn't hear any of it.
Should we try to get maybe some feedback from the architect or the owners about why
Bob,
sorry.
Can you guys hear me at all?
Yes.
Can you guys hear me at all?
Yes.
Yeah, David.
I couldn't hear what Dan said. If somebody could repeat that for me.
Dan wants the homeowners to be able to participate in the discussion.
He said, according to Robert's Rules of Order, that we can request that they participate.
You can, and I have no problem with it. We'll make some special exceptions and go ahead and hear from the homeowner. Answer your question, Ashley.
Okay, so this is Lisa Martin Sessick as one of the homeowners. Our
Or the
architect,
applicant should say. So he can go ahead, Lee.
can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I
Okay.
can.
So as one of the homeowners, we worked closely with our architect. He spent a fair amount of time out on the lot to take advantage of the natural slope of the land. If we move the home to the right, as was suggested, we will be much closer to one homeowner on the right side than we would on the left side. And we would need to, you're right, that we would need to move, we would, moving the home a couple trees. Some of those trees are older. We will be much closer to the neighbor on the right than we would be on the neighbor on the left. Our house is already off center from the lot over to the right, and we'll be moving even closer. And we will be very close to their backyard. So in terms of the lay of the land, we will not be, we will be, it will feel like we're very close to their house based on the way their driveway is and their back is. We owned that property for 3 months, and we spent a fair amount of time in that, on the property. We've been in their screen porch, which is in the rear. They would be looking into our house from where if we move it farther over, just based on where and farther back. So that is a concern of ours from the placement of the home.
Yeah, I just like to add to that, what my wife said. We did own that house for about 3 months before we sold it. And because that home is only 12 feet from the property line, again, it was grandfathered in, I'm sure it was built long ago. There's a nice back screen porch in the back of that house. And if we move the house that we're proposing to build 18 feet further back, our front porch will be looking into their rear porch, which just doesn't feel like the right place to be. And it's just because of the huge difference between the two setbacks that we'd have to have. And moving it over, again, as my wife said, just puts us much closer to their home. It's not centered today on the lot. We wanted to center it on the lot, but because of the trees, not wanting to take out the trees, we didn't center it. But if we move it farther to the right, we'll be much, much closer to that other property.
I have two questions or two statements I'd like to make. One is centering the house on the lot. I don't think that ever has much to do with anything. If you drive through my neighborhood, you're going to see all kinds of houses that are set in one spot or the other relative to the one next door to them. So I think that's a point that doesn't exist. The other thing is, I have no idea about how close the front of your house is to the back of the other, because we don't have drawings that show where your house is and the one next to you.
Can I speak, please?
I can't make any statements about it since I don't have a drawing for it.
Can I speak, please? This is the architect.
Go
Hello,
ahead.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Dave?
Go ahead.
Okay, Chuck, could you go to paginated page 12? It shows the relationship of the house to the two adjoining buildings.
Okay, I don't have it as far as a presentation on the screen, but I can hold it up in front of me.
Okay,
You want number 12,
it's labeled number 8.
number 8? Okay. Does it say 28-foot setback respecting 60-foot stream
Yes.
buffer?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so you need to move your page a little bit away from the screen. Move it back a little bit. More. Okay, so on the left, you can see the location of the house that was recently built. And on the right, you can see the house that was built in the 1960s. In the middle, you can see the house where the Sessicks want to put it, with a 28-foot setback, respecting all of the trees, located and nestled in a grove, And you'll note also that the three houses sort of make a nice progression in how we mediate between the setbacks from the 1960s and from 2019. So I feel the house from a design point of view is located in a good place. And if it's pushed further back, it will actually be further back than the adjoining house, which is it'll be further back, set back than both of the houses. Do note, there is a front porch that is 13 feet deep. The occupiable part of the house is 13 foot back from the dimension of the 28-foot setback.
Okay. Any other comments from the architect?
Not yet.
Are there any neighbors in the audience who would like to comment?
We do not have anyone in the waiting room other than the next applicant.
We have not heard any concern from our neighbors. We have spoken to as many as we could on the brow. None of them have expressed any concern with there are pins and markings on the ground today. So we've asked all of our neighbors to check, and if they had any concerns to let us know, and we exchanged phone numbers, and none of them have had any concerns. They've all said it looks like the perfect place for the house. Again, I'm not putting words in their mouth. That's what they said.
Okay, my only concern with the trees, sorry about that. My only concern with the trees, we have zero enforcement action on that. The tree can be cut down tomorrow if you guys want to, or the next homeowner can cut them down. The trees to me aren't as big a factor, especially if they're only 3 that have to cut down.
Can I speak to that?
Who's Will?
He is our
I'm
architect.
Will Morrison. I'm the builder.
Oh, okay.
If we are having to cut down these trees by pushing the house further back, those trees have been there for so long, and yeah, it's great to keep them just because they've been there for so long, but they're also really helping with the erosion on that property. If we go over there and just have to cut out all these trees, especially with this stream going down, it's really going to it's going to create an erosion problem and kind of do away with the whole aspect of trying to protect the creek to begin with. And it's just something to consider.
I believe the application said 3 trees. Is that correct?
There's 3 trees where the home site would be. However, if you push the house further back, you would get into the roots of about, just thinking off the top of my head, 8 hemlocks. Some of them are mature and they're all in one concentrated area. So if we get rid of those hemlocks, those things are helping hold up that earth quite a bit, and it turns into kind of a domino effect.
So this is Ashley speaking again, and I think that I don't want to look at this in a vacuum. I feel like there's the buffer for the stream in the back. And I also think that in keeping with policies that Signal Mountain has put in place, that it would be wise to grant this variance.
Okay. Any other opposite opinion? Carrie, did you have anything else to say?
No, I've read all of the information submitted and Garrett's recommendation from the development district, and I'm ready to cast my vote whenever you call for one.
Okay. I guess my only problem too with the house is they always approach the BZA with a definitive design that's not necessarily made to fit in the space that's available for them.
David, I got one question.
Okay.
I did not get anything from Garrett on a recommendation on this, so did Ashley receive, I mean, did Carrie receive something that I didn't?
I received something. He said because of the land use plan and the tree issue, he recommended approval. But unfortunately, the land use plan is not necessarily what we are ordered to abide by.
Just one more thing. You can't move the house to the right because you think that you'll be imposing on your neighbors. Is that right?
So there would be two changes if we moved it to the right. We would move it to the right, we would be closer to them, which I understand isn't relevant, you know, that anybody can put a house wherever that it fits, that's fine. It would be much closer to them. And the way their driveway works and the way the house would be to us, it would feel close to them. But I appreciate that that's not necessarily a reason to deny to allow a variance. The other is that because the house will move farther back, we will be then, our front yard will be in line with their backyard. And that will feel strange, right? We will then be looking into their yard and into their screen porch when we're outside from the front and they're in the back. And I think visually that will look strange.
Okay.
This is Bob. I got one question. Is their driveway on your property?
No, it's on their property, but it abuts our property. It's on that side of their house.
May I say something, Dave?
Go ahead.
A 12-foot variance is a front setback. Is a large variance. And I have it's too big of a variance for me.
Okay. I apologize for all the moving around. My battery was going dead.
Okay.
Okay, we've heard from the builder, the landowner, the architect, and Dan. Does anyone else have anything to say?
Can I say something? Actually, just one more thing.
Sure.
Speaking about the front setback, asking for a 13-foot reduction, I understand your concern with that. To be fair, this road, Palisades, the easement on this side, on their side of the road, is pretty significant, a lot larger of an area than you would think. I believe, I'd have to look at the survey, but it's at least a 15-foot easement that gets onto their property. So it's not like the house is going to be directly on the street, not like the house is going to be 27 feet off the street. As the house sits right now, I believe that the front of the house is actually 49 feet from the street. So I know that you deal with a lot of other neighborhoods where the easement's only 8 feet off of the curb of the street. That would still fall in the same look that you would get. So it's not like it's going to look like the house is directly on the street. It's basically what I'm getting at.
Understand. Any other comments? Okay, we have a motion made to disapprove the variance request and a second. Are you guys ready for the question? And I guess since, go ahead.
Are we ready to what?
To vote on the variance?
Yeah.
Okay. The question on the floor is a denial of the variance. All in favor of denying the variance, say aye.
Aye.
Bob, aye.
And Dave is aye. All in favor?
Aye.
You did say in favor. What did you say, Dave? I had trouble hearing you.
I guess you're against the request I made. So if you're in favor of the variance, go ahead and say you are.
Hey,
I'm
David.
in favor of granting the variance.
David?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry to
Very
interrupt.
sorry to interrupt, sir, but I believe just due to, Dan may be about to say the same thing I am, that you may need to take a roll call vote
Yes.
That sounds good.
in
This is, I'm still new
accordance
with
with
it,
the
so.
electronic meeting provision here. Sorry about that.
Well, that's all right. The first three people have said their names, but so a roll call vote. All in favor of denying the variance, say their name and say their vote.
Doug Houston, deny the variance.
Bob Grassinger, deny the variance.
Okay, Dave Cantrell, I vote to deny the variance. All in favor of granting the variance, say your name and your vote.
Ashley Henry, grant the variance.
Carrie Lansford, grant the variance.
Okay, the motion to deny the variance is approved, 3-2 vote. And sorry about that. I love the property too, but the motion carries to deny the variance. We can move on to the next case. I'm sorry, I'm totally disorganized today.
Okay, I think we'll be switching some people around here, but
Okay, go ahead.
the next case is going to be the 2020-06, which is the Craig Peavy and the 1141 James Boulevard, and that's the request for the variance on the swimming pool.
Okay, and are they in attendance today?
I believe he's on the screen now.
Okay, sir, do you have anything to add to your application for the variance for the pool?
Yeah, actually. I
You
just
state your name and address first.
sure.
Craig?
Yeah. 1 second here. My name is Michael Craig Peavy. I live at 1141 James Boulevard, Signal Mountain, Tennessee. And I'm asking for a variance on a zoning ordinance that states that pools shall not be located in the front yard of a residence. So I read the staff recommendation and what it had to say, and I wanted to offer a couple of comments if I could. First of all is understanding the zoning ordinance and what the zoning ordinances are blanket rules and regulations that try to apply to all situations. And I have been in a lot of circumstances where the variance process is in place to accommodate those situations where there are anomalies.
Right.
And so in this particular case, I pointed out 2 or 3 things in what I submitted that would possibly open the door for a conversation of this being one of those anomalies. And I think there's two real factors. One is the width and depth of my lot. Is if you look at, within maybe 6 blocks of here, all of the houses are within 30 to 50 feet of the street. And my house is set back, 150 feet. So with kind of what's happening in my backyard with the septic tank and the erosion issue with my neighbor, there's a lot of real estate up there that I really can't do that, right? So I guess when you look at the zoning ordinance and it says it can't be in the front yard, then I guess we should look at it in another way. I've been on several committees that have looked at issues like this before, and what you don't want to do is set a precedent, right? So I'm sure the very first question was, is there a precedent for this that has been set? And if there's not, we don't really want to set a precedent with this, because whenever you think about a pool being in a front yard, you think about riding down the road and seeing a derelict home, and you see an above ground pool that is riding in the front yard, and it looks terrible. I've been living on Signal Mountain for 12 years at this residence, and I understand what that means and how we want to keep our community beautiful. And I understand the point of where that variance was coming from. But I also understand that if treated in the right condition, this is not a variance from that particular language. That language says it cannot be in the front yard. So across the street from me, there's a pool that is, from the front of the residence to the back of the pool is 20 to 30 to 40 feet. I'm not asking for that. I'm not asking to put the pool out in the middle of the front yard. What I'm asking for is an encroachment from the side yard, which is where it's placed, over into the front yard. So I'm hoping that that's enough of an anomaly in the language that allow you guys to consider this encroachment. So the pool currently is sized as big as I could make it with the setbacks and the relationship to my house. And it's currently 10 by 30. And in the variance, I asked for 20 feet of an encroachment. Technically, I only need 17 feet for it to still be that 10 by 30 footprint. But if you guys would consider a compromise, I can certainly go another 7 feet and the pool still be large enough that it's considered a pool. I mean, once it gets to 10 by 10, then it's not really a pool, and I could just buy a hot tub and put it out there. But I'm really hoping that that's enough of an anomaly that you guys would consider that small encroachment across that front part of my house.
So you said if there was a compromise, you're willing to reduce it from 20 feet to 10 feet? Is that what I heard?
Yes, sir. I mean, I would like more like 12 feet, but 10 feet, if that's what it takes to get the variance, I absolutely.
How does this, how close are you to the property line with this?
It is,
Setback.
so the ordinance says it has to be 5 feet off the property line. I'm 5 feet off the property line. And I have contacted all of my neighbors, and they are all in agreement or not opposed to this. And specifically the neighbor that this abuts, I had a conversation with them yesterday, and they are in full approval of this.
He's not here today, is he online?
No, sir.
Okay.
It's a man and a wife, kind of elderly couple.
Okay. Does anyone have a question?
Where is this pool in somebody's front yard? I'm not, where is that?
You talking about the one in my precedent?
Yes, you mentioned there's a pool in somebody's front yard. I just curious where that is.
It's directly across the street. It's 1140 James Boulevard. Like if you look at the Google map of my house and you look across the street, there's a pool in their front yard. An in-ground pool, but you can't tell it because they have a really nice large wooden privacy fence, and they've got lots of really nice mature plantings, and you cannot see it from the road. Actually, you can't even see the house from the road. And I've hired a landscape architect, and I am, if we go through with this and I am approved, I'm willing to submit drawings of the fence and the landscaping design to you for your approval for complete. You won't be able to see this at all from the road. I don't want anybody to see me in my swimsuit, to be honest.
It'll be 5 feet from the property line. How far is that from the neighbor's house? Do you know?
I can pick my computer up and show it to you. You want to see it?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Let's see. I'm just going to walk you guys. I'm going to walk y'all out in the front yard, and you can see it for yourself. All right.
It's sort of in between the other two houses to the side. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. There's the house. And I would say from the property line, it's maybe 35, 40 feet. Yeah, this little retaining wall that's right here is the property line.
Okay.
And their house is 30, 40, maybe 40 feet from that.
How high would your fence be around that?
It would be at least 6 feet, but I kind of want to do a site study to make sure that there's no light pollution on their side. Come on, girl. So let's say probably somewhere in the 6 to 8 foot range. The drawings that I sent you guys, there was a rendering. Excuse me, my dog just got out. Come here, girl. Come on. I can't let my wife's going to kill me if this dog gets away. Come here.
That's all right.
Want a treat?
Get a
Okay,
taste of the property. That's right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I want to do a site study because I definitely don't want any light pollution on their side. So the renderings, the drawings that I sent you kind of had a representation of the pool shape, and the height of the fence. So it's
Right.
probably in the 6-7 foot range, maybe.
Craig, there's a neighbor of yours on the other side of the street that's got a pool next to his house, but it's not forward of his house. Is that the house? Is that the pool you're talking about? He's got it's a real pretty fence. He's got an Airstream trailer there and all that.
No. That's Dr. Welch, the dentist.
Yeah.
I'm talking literally across the street. Like it's the guy across the street from me. Across James Boulevard. I can pull up the map and give you the address if you'd like.
That's okay.
Yeah, there it is. It's on the stuff I submitted. I even circled it so that you could see it.
We do have one rule that's 1104.0102. It says if there's another non-conforming use on a neighbor's land, that doesn't mean we're supposed to issue a variance, but.
Absolutely, sir. Yeah, and yes, I agree with that.
I'll ask the building inspector if that pool was built with a permit, because
that pool was built with a permit. I have a copy of the permit, which is kind of unusual for as old as that is. But that permit was built or was issued in 1978, and we didn't start the ordinance code until 79.
Okay.
But there was a permit for the pool, and everything was done as it was allowed.
Okay.
I do. This is Ashley, and I do have a question because I do think when I looked at this request, I did consider the fact that we do not have a rule. A swimming pool can be built within the setback, correct, Chuck?
It is. It can be built in the setbacks, but actually it can be outside of the setbacks because the ordinance allows for a 5 foot edge on the for the property line, so it can actually go into the side or the rear setback. And I guess I can't remember exactly how it's worded, but
well, do you think so? It can be. We don't need a variance request, and you can build it 5 feet from the property line. Is what you're saying? Yeah,
that part's it's allowed.
Okay,
and the only thing that was bringing it to you guys was the fact that the ordinance also says that it can't go past the front plane of the house.
Okay, so my question is though, do you think that was put in place because most houses today are built just right up to that required setback? And they at the same time said that swimming pools did not have to have a variance to be built within the setback, and therefore they put that in there so somebody wouldn't build it in the front of their house and wouldn't violate our setbacks. But when this house is not built up to that setback line and it's so far off the street, you could make the argument that that might not apply in this situation. Did everybody understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
David, when we finally get to the question, I got a lot of discussion on this one.
Okay. And I do have one more question for the homeowner. It looks like there's a lot of room to slide this back beside the house. Where's the septic tank?
The septic tank is about from the rear corner of the house that's on the driveway. It's about 4 feet from the corner of the house, and with the 2 large hemlocks, it goes diagonal across the yard, and then it zigzags from property line to property line, almost all the way to the tree line.
But it's not located on the side of the house at all, correct?
No, it's directly behind the house.
Right. So I mean, so your drain field is nowhere on that side of the house, correct?
If you're looking at the drawing, I'm assuming the top part of the page.
Right.
I'm sorry. Can you?
I'm on my phone, so I.
Yeah. No worries. But you're referring to if you were to take it and move it from here and move it straight back behind.
Yeah, slide it further back. I'm looking at page 2 of your application. So yeah, if you just slid that back along the side property line toward the back of the house. I mean,
he also has to stay 25 feet off of the septic for their rules.
Okay.
When you're digging a basement or a pool.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just shocked that people on James are on septic and not sewer.
Yes, ma'am. When I did my addition, I found that my septic tank was not to the code and I had to replace it and bring it. It was, yeah. Yep, new septic system.
Your neighbor, your adjacent neighbor close to Burnham Wood, you were home. You know, their field lines are in front of the house.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's too late now, right?
Yeah, that was 10 years ago.
Okay.
It was redone. It was redone. It hadn't been that long ago. It was redone. I can't remember.
Okay.
Go back to town and get. I don't know. Chuck may remember. I don't know. It's been 10 years ago. I don't know.
It's roughly, but I don't remember where the septic is without looking it up.
It's in front.
I was saying that my septic was done 10 years ago. I'm not sure when there's.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm thinking. I just be if I said I get it wrong, but it wasn't 10 years ago. It was redone.
Sure.
So Dave and Ashley, are y'all suggesting that he might be able to reposition the location?
Well, that was my question. If it has to be 25 feet from the rear yard, I can't quite read the dimensions on the drawing here, how far it is from the back edge of the house. Does anyone else have a question? Or were you finished, Carrie? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I was just wondering if there was a way to move it to where it's in compliance without a variance. Craig?
Well, the variable here is from the. Sorry, guys. Let me pull up the drawings real quick. See if I can figure this out. Just bear with me, please.
Hey, David, I got a question.
Go ahead.
This is Bob. We have the ability to give variances for different things. Do we have the ability to change zoning? This was written in the rule that you can't put anything like this in the front yard. That's not a matter of how many feet to something. It just says it can't be there. Are we going to redescribe what can be zoned and stuff? I think that's out of the scope of ours. That would have to go back to the planning commission into the zoning, I would think.
That's to change zoning. That's correct. Planning commission to the town council.
Right.
Did he find the drawing he was looking for?
I'm opening it now. Just bear with me. Oh, there it is.
David, while I'm talking, let me bring up another issue. Any pool has to have a 5-foot fence around it. We can't have 5-foot fences that are unseeable through in the front yard. You can't have them sitting next door so the neighbor can't see them. The 5-foot fence is going to be a problem.
I'm not sure I understand the meaning of that, sir. What is that? What you can't have a fence in your front yard?
You have to have a 5-foot fence around a pool.
Right, and I'm suggesting a 6 or 7 foot fence.
That's not allowable. You can't put something structure up more than 5 feet in the front yard.
So if the fence in the front was 5 feet or less, that would be legal.
It may be 4 feet, but you have to be able to see through it to even be 4 feet.
Okay.
Well, the front yard fence situation is for visibility for traffic. On the, if somebody's doing the 4 foot is a limit on an interior lot, 3 feet on a corner lot. But the fact of seeing through it is if it's when you're that close to the street, is like somebody trying to back out of their driveway or something along that lines. But as far as, I don't think there's anything specific to being solid or not, except for the fact of the visibility for traffic.
That may be true, but that's not what the rule is.
All right.
All right, so we can do, as a compromise, we can do a wrought iron fence that has landscaping for privacy, and it can be whatever height the code says that it needs to be. And to address Mr. Cantrell's question, I just looked up on the drawings. When I did my addition in the area that you're suggesting, just sliding the house back, there's a 15-foot side yard setback. So if I have a 5 yard off the property line, then it would be 5 yards off the property line, a 10-foot pool, and then my house. So there's not enough physical space because you have to be able to walk on at least 2 sides of a pool for the Tennessee pool code. So with it being exactly 15 feet to where I positioned it, it's 22 feet. So I can actually walk on both sides of the pool or egress out of the pool. You can get out on both sides.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
More questions? Anyone else have another question? Okay. Does anyone in the audience have a question? I don't know who's in the audience. Does anyone have a comment that's watching from Town Hall? No. Okay. Does anyone have a motion?
I have a motion that it be denied.
Is there a second?
Yes, but I just think that the pool could be moved in the back. You want to put the second field line to a pump up system. There's a lot of pump up systems around town. Then the extra rate probably has a pump up.
On Doug's motion, I would like to ask, what is he wanting to make a motion for? Are we changing a setback line? Or are we going to say that a pool's allowed in the front yard?
No, I'm saying I'm saying that the variance be denied.
Okay, I understand.
Is there a second?
I'll second it. Graysinger.
Okay, so Doug Houston makes a motion to deny the variance. Bob seconds the motion. Any further debate? Anyone have comments?
Well, I think what you guys were just saying a minute ago, as far as you're on your motion there, the situation of encroaching into the front yard, I don't think there's a limit as far as where or how. It's just it was coming past the front plane of the house. So that's where I couldn't make a decision and had to bring it before you guys.
Say that again.
I said that with him encroaching into the front yard,
right.
The only ordinance that is obstructing that is the fact that he can't come past the front plane of the house. So
right.
As far as if he wasn't doing that, I could have approved the pool without any issues with you guys. But since he's wanting to encroach into the front yard, however much it is, that's what you're dealing with, is the coming past the front plane of the house. That's where I could make a call on it. It's something that it comes to you guys when it comes out of what I normally have to deal with.
I guess my only comment is, I feel for a situation, and I might be more inclined if it was just a few feet or 5 feet, but 20 feet is a lot. That's my only comment.
I would certainly be willing to go down to 10 and possibly even rework it to take it down less than that, if you guys would allow me to resubmit.
Carrie or Ashley, do you have a comment?
I'm inclined to deny. Craig's a heck of a nice guy, I have to add, though. But I have to, my position is deny at this point. Should we allow him to resubmit, or is it just not feasible to do this pool?
Can I make one more comment? I wasn't going to mention this, but the driveway side works a lot better than the other side does.
That was going to be my question. Is there a garage or something on the driveway side, or is that?
Yes, sir. It would cut off the access to my garage and to my backyard.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Okay. Right now, the question is on whether to deny the variance. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of denying the variance? State your name and say aye.
Doug Houston, deny.
Bob Gressinger, deny.
Carrie Lansford, deny.
Ashley?
Ashley Henry, deny. But is this something that we can, if he would come back, how are we going to handle that, Dave?
Well, technically, he can't come back for the same request for 12 months, but as far as I'm concerned, if he alters it or changes the size or dimensions or something, it wouldn't bother me if he came back in less time than that.
Me neither.
So should we not vote so that he can come back and abide by the rules?
Well, we already have a motion and 4 votes on the record, so I'm not sure we can pull it at this point. Chuck, do you see any problem if we let him come back with a different size pool or another request?
I'm not sure about the rules of Roberts and all that kind of stuff and all, but as far as if that's what he's proposing to do, and you know, if you guys will let him come back, then I don't have an issue with that.
Okay.
He can always request it. If we don't allow it, we won't allow it, but it is in the rules that he has to wait 12 months to come back to ask for the same thing. So I will go ahead and also vote no on the variant, or I'll vote against the variance request also. So the motion to deny the variance carries 5-0. And that's the end of case number 2. Is there any unfinished business?
Not that I'm aware of.
I do have a question for you. You know, that form we normally sign, is that something we still need to pass around and do, or?
It would be nice if we could do that, and probably what maybe I could do is, if you guys are available during the day or something, is I could bring it around and have you guys sign it.
Is there a way we can do it email, kind of, sort of?
Well, I mean, we're trying to get the signatures on one document, so.
You just leave it at the city office there, and we'll stop by.
Well, town hall's closed, so.
Oh, that's right. Well, you can always mail it to me and I'll
That's,
mail it back.
that's why we're zooming.
Okay,
Could we
well,
tape it to the door?
I guess the minutes technically will be official if we just agree to those and mail it in.
Isn't
mean,
there's
I
something
write
like,
it up, but I just don't have the signatures.
Oh, okay.
well, there is something known as an electronic signature.
True.
Yeah.
So does that solve the problem?
Well,
You can
I mean, this is
send it.
recorded too, so.
Well, I think that if David wants to, we could pass a resolution here saying that our secretary has the authority to sign for the group.
I don't know if that's legal or not, but it should be, but I'm not
Well,
sure.
If these
Well, let's
meetings
not
are
do that.
legal,
We can work it out, but I would have no problem just meeting Chuck at town hall in the parking lot, signing it sometime.
We
Yeah, I'd
can,
do that.
if you guys call me or whatever, I can try to have, be available to do the signatures.
Okay, let's do that then.
And can I say something real quick? I do think maybe we should put in there something. I know that we're sending these now to the planning commission. Do they get our minutes too? Is that how this is working now, Chuck? We changed it.
There's like 24 people that get them.
I know. I thought the planning commission was one of them. Dan, are you still there? Do you remember?
I think he and Sam are gone.
Okay. Well, I was just thinking, I do think we should make a note, because I do think the planning commission, whoever does these, should look at this. Because I think if you really thought about the intent, like I mentioned earlier, if a house is not built on that front setback line, then this, I think they just need to go back and consider what their intent is. Do they not want to pull in the front yard, period? Or did they put it in there because they figured most people built on the front property line, setback line, and they were trying to prevent people from putting pools into the setback?
I think that's a good point. We can pass that, make sure they get a copy of it.
Okay.
All right, if there's no further business, I'll adjourn the meeting, and we'll just stay in touch with each other about signing the last two
Okay,
meeting decisions.
okay.
Okay. All right.
Thank
Good night,
you.
Good night, everyone.
you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.